Hello, everyone. I'm Pharmacist Michael, and I am back with you with Marissa. I don't know if you guys can tell, but she is not at home currently. She is in the hospital. And today we're going to talk about sepsis, which happens when you get an infection that ends up in your blood and goes throughout your body. And it can be deadly, especially if you're older or if you have certain conditions. So tell us about how you ended up in the hospital, Marissa. What were your symptoms?
So on August 24th, I had a pain pump placed, and they gave me about 3 days worth of post op pain medication. And I was very tired. Like every time I would move, I was just very, very generally uncomfortable. So I thought maybe I'm just taking a longer time to heal because I've done that before where, you know, instead of like the typical healing process for me, it takes a little longer. So like I need a
Uh-oh.
I'm back.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I took so finally I waited. I called my surgeon. I had my dressing
I don't know what's going on with her, but it may be the hospital's Wi-Fi.
yeah.
Okay,
So
hopefully it gets better. Go
we
ahead.
okay. So we took so finally I thought I was just in extra pain. I would call my surgeon's office and he was like, okay, well, maybe you're in pain, go up to the ED. I'd go up to the ED. They would treat me for pain.
It wasn't cold, so I grabbed you ice.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Um, I kept coming up for pain, and finally I called my home health nurse. And so my body temperature runs at about 96. So, like, when I hit 99, for me, that's considered a fever. Not clinically, but for
Right.
me, that's what they consider a fever. And so I started running like that temp. I wasn't feeling good. And finally, I called my home health nurse and I was like, I feel like there's something wrong and nobody's listening to me. So she phoned up to the hospital. I had labs done and stuff. And I actually left AMA. I was waiting in the waiting room for an extended amount of time, and like this fear came over me. And I'm known to run from my fears. And I left. Well, my surgeon's office called me, the PA who works with my surgeon, was like, you have some bad looking labs. You need to go back in. I went back in. They didn't need to run any labs. I wasn't there for a very long time before they took me back. They reassessed my vitals and stuff. Um, and then I was sitting out in the waiting room and I was waiting and I went up to the desk and I said, do you know what's going on? Because they can see certain things in their system and all it was marked as bed, well, room. So I knew at that moment I had a room available for me, and I came up and I have Pseudomonas in my blood.
Okay, so was it the tiredness or the pain
The
or
excess pain
just
and
the
the
fever?
tiredness. So the excess pain and the tiredness were the two things that really alerted me to like something's off. Like I have a chronic pain condition. I'm always in pain, but this was more pain than I was used to. And I was the way I would lay is I'd like squish my legs. I was all propped up and like I would just lay in bed and sleep mostly all day. Like I would get up to deal with the kids, put them, you know. But when I could sleep, I was sleeping.
So how long have you been in the hospital this time?
So I came in, I believe, Saturday. So Saturday night.
Okay. So you've been there 4 days.
And I'm not allowed to leave until, so my protocol to leave is I need 2 clear blood cultures. So I had 2 days, and then I have to have my PICC line. I'm on what's called a line holiday, so I have to have a PICC line reinserted because I'll be on antibiotics for the foreseeable future. Like right now, antibiotic wise, I'm on 3 different ones.
So here's a good question for you. Because of your other condition, obviously they're giving you IV antibiotics, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Because of your other condition, are you going to be able to absorb a drug when you leave? Or are they going to have to give you some sort of a pump to get the antibiotics into your system?
So what they'll do is so I'll have a PICC line in, which is it's a perfectly inserted central catheter,
Right.
and I'll do IV antibiotics at home.
So you can do that yourself.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've done
Okay.
antibiotics. And the nice part for me is I already know how to administer IV antibiotics, so like I don't have to wait for my home health nurse to be
right.
Let me teach you how to do this. I've already done it.
Right. And you know that 10% of everybody that discharges from the hospital with sepsis ends up back in there. That's just the way it is. So hopefully that won't happen to you. You know, the things you do have going for you is you're young, because sepsis can really be dangerous, especially if you're over 65.
Yeah.
And, you know, we see people in the hospital with sepsis all the time. That's one of the main things that I see, actually. And then, you know, trying to figure, and you have med allergies too, right? You have.
Yeah, I have antibiotic allergies.
Right. So for you, that's the other issue, is you have an absorption problem. You have a problem with allergies.
Yeah.
You've had this happen to you before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to this extreme though, not to where they were like, oh boy, like this is concerning. This time they were like, you're admitted until you have clear cultures. The last time I don't even think I had clear cultures and was discharged home.
Right. And there's some other things about sepsis that people might not realize is, depending on where the actual infection comes from, a lot of times determines how severe it really is. So if you end up with a urinary tract infection, that's actually better than if you have something in your lungs or.
Yeah. So for instance, so I'm on what's called, so there's the ICU, then there's a step down unit. I'm on the neuro ICU step down unit is basically what it's called, because my infection came from my pain pump, and my infection was in my cerebral spinal fluid. It was in that intrathecal space.
Ooh.
So this is where I ended up.
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
a little more. Like,
did you have any other septic symptoms? Did your blood pressure drop?
My blood pressure was running a little low, but sometimes my blood pressure will run low regardless.
Right.
If that happened. But other than that, it was just like this general, like, I feel like unwell, and I felt off, and off that I couldn't describe to people.
Right. So when you were there the first time, you said that the labs looked bad. Did they take a blood culture then?
Yeah, they took several. I've had several blood cultures taken. So.
Okay. And so now how many antibiotics did they need to get through before they found the right ones for you this time?
They started off with 4. They knocked it down. At one point, we knocked it down to 1, but infectious disease wanted to knock it back up to at least 3 of those antibiotics. Why? I'm not too sure, but I was just like, okay, and went with it.
I think a lot of times infectious disease, they don't want to take a chance of you having resistant bugs. So sometimes they get nervous that, depending on what the one, especially if it's vancomycin, if that's the only thing they have you on, they want to make sure that are you allergic to penicillin?
Yes.
See, that's a tough one.
I'm allergic to penicillin, and vancomycin is one of the antibiotics I am on.
Right. And vancomycin is good for certain types group. I'm not going to go into details, but it's good for one of the types, but usually we put people on more than just vanco. We usually put them on a penicillin, but since you're allergic to it, they probably are trying different things, maybe clindamycin. I don't know.
Metronidazole was. I think that's my thing. 5. That's metronidazole.
Metronidazole, vancomycin.
And there's one more. But I've been just on IV antibiotics pretty much around the clock.
How's your pain?
I got into an argument with one of the hospitalists because what she did is because I wanted, so I don't really eat because of gastroparesis, but I wanted comfort food to drain. Right. Well, he thought it was appropriate to knock me to Q12 Dilaudid.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
And then she knocked it back. We got into it today, and she knocked it to Q8 with oxycodone in between, but I don't absorb oxycodone.
Right. That's not going to work for you.
So, right now, I'm sitting with an ice pack on on my front incision because I'm honestly pain-wise miserable. And being septic, you have pain all throughout your body. Your bones hurt.
Well, you have pain even when you're not septic.
Yeah. So I'm a harder case to treat. I take a little more oomph in medication. You can't, a normal post-op patient, you can be here's your 5 milligrams of oxycodone.
Right.
Good to go. I have a chronic pain syndrome, so I'm not like that. It takes a lot more to treat my acute pain than it does the average person.
So let's talk a little bit about your pain, because I think this is another thing that a lot of people are going to be not only interested in, but other people go through this. So our society has went from giving everybody opiates to now not wanting to give anybody opiates, or somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
How has that changed your ability? And for you, it's even worse because you can't even absorb them if you get them. Yeah. So you basically have to have something that's either a patch form, a pump form, or something that's IV, right?
Yeah.
So is it hard for you when you get hospitalized, is it hard for you to convince a nurse of something like that? Or can they look in your chart and say, oh, this is true, this person's got gastroparesis, they can't absorb medications, so I need to not try to give them oxycodone?
My nurses aren't the ones that I have to convince. It's literally the hospitalist. The hospitalists are the hard, for the one I have now. I quote unquote said I was going to jump down her throat because I can't absorb medication. On top of being on pain medication because I'm septic and in pain, and I just had surgery on Monday, I'm also on a fentanyl patch.
Right.
that is one of the things that I noticed. Like, my fentanyl patch was not relieving any of my pain.
So do you think that, are the hospitalists treating you like you're drug seeking?
I absolutely think so. And
can't they look at your chart and see that you've had these problems for years and that this is not something new for you?
they can, but I don't think that they choose to, because they have the way I don't know how your hospitalists work, but the way our hospitalists work, it's basically like interns. They work all week, wild hours, and then they get a week off.
Oh, okay.
And I think that they choose not to. I think that they just choose to assess everybody as, you're just this patient, and, you're going to get what we give you. And, like, they were tolerance. I'm already tolerant to opioids.
Right.
You're not going to change that for me.
No, you're not.
It would take a lot.
Well, they tried that with you, remember, within the last few months anyway, and it didn't work. So they're not, you wouldn't think they would even, I mean, to me, they need to deal with the sepsis first and worry about that other stuff later, but they've already tried that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not the kind, I've known you for a long time. You're not the kind of person that's just going to take drugs just to take drugs because they make you feel good. You take them because you got a lot of issues that you're dealing with every day. And you have to be able to live your life. You got kids to take care of.
Yeah. Like, I choose, like, it's not like I woke up one day and chose to be, miserable. Like, I didn't choose to have, like, diseases that have no cure to them.
Well, you didn't, I mean, it sort of happened to you.
It happened
because of a hospital, right? I mean, you were the victim of a bad surgery, and it might not have been the surgeon's fault. I don't know, but it sure seems strange that you were fine, and then you had what's supposed to be simple surgery, and all of a sudden your intestines and stomach doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So to me, that's more than just a coincidence. I think there's something to that.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you, I've seen a lot of people with sepsis, though, Marissa, and you don't look like one of them right now. So whatever they got you on must be working.
Today has been a lot of sleeping, to the point where my morning shift nurse came in and was, like, saying my name, and I was in such a dead sleep that she was like, she just walked out of the room because she was like, you weren't getting up for anything.
I'm not waking her up. Hi, Kim. I have Marissa on. She's in the hospital. She has sepsis. We're talking about what happened to her. We're talking about her issues with pain. We're talking about sepsis in general. And she looks pretty good today, I have to say. I'm surprised. I expected somebody that looked a lot sicker, but I'm glad you're not a lot sicker. You might feel a lot sicker, but you look good. So,
and that's another issue with me is, like, the way I present is, like, I present like, a person who's not sick. Like, I present.
Hi, Jetty May.
Like, I have to have labs run on me, or else, like, we're not gonna know what's going on.
Right. So this time they didn't give you a choice, though. They called you up and said, your labs look bad. Get your butt back into the hospital.
Yeah.
And that's where you have been since Saturday. Did they tell you, and you don't even know when you're going to get to leave? It's not based on a date. It's based on labs.
Yes.
Are they taking cultures every day from you, or twice a day or something?
As I'm getting labs and cultures done almost every day. Like, at 7:00 this morning, they were in drawing labs from me.
So Are they going to put the pump back in?
So they want me to go 3 to 6 months without having a pump because it's caused such a catastrophic infection.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'll wear a fentanyl patch, and then like my meds will have to be adjusted. And then I'll talk to my pain clinic to see, what we can do in the meantime.
Have they tried ketamine treatment on you?
No. The only time I've had the ketamine during anesthesia.
I wonder if ketamine would work for you.
I wonder.
I think you should ask about it because, you've seen Becky's story.
Yeah.
It seems like people with, and it's IV, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Your biggest problem is going to be insurance, though. They're not going to want to pay for it, which is really, really crazy to me. I just, you're a perfect example of somebody who the insurance company should pay for whatever the doctor wants to put you on.
Yeah.
There should be no, well, you need to try this or that first, right?
Yeah, I've been through so many med trials. And like when they did my surgery, one of the things that they did is they tested like my brain fluid to make sure like that was all clear.
Yeah.
It was not clear.
Oh, the brain fluid wasn't clear?
Nope.
Oh, no.
So that's when I think that's why
no.
all the antibiotics. But what my surgeon did is, so I didn't have a spinal fluid leak, is he threw a stitch in to keep my spinal fluid from leaking.
Wow.
I like to get sick and look good at the same time.
Yes, you're good at that. You're definitely good at that. Okay, we have 4 people in here. Does anybody have any questions for Marissa? I've been questioning her for 20 minutes. So does anybody have any questions for her? She has sepsis. We know it came from the pain pump. So we know that they removed it. She's been on 4 different antibiotics at least at one time, and then they've tried some other ones, but now she's down to 3. And she's been there since Saturday. She can't leave until she gets 2 negative blood cultures, which is probably a good thing because otherwise you're going to end up right back in there with resistant bacteria, which is going to be even worse.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think every time you end up in the hospital, there's some sort of issue with something, right? I mean, you always have to fight for yourself. Is why you're so good at it, because you've had to do it for years.
Yeah.
So they think they can get away with treating you like a rookie patient, but that doesn't work too well.
No, it doesn't.
How are the nurses treating you?
Today I had 2 great nurses. Like my night nurse, I was calling. I was like, "Hey, best friend."
Good. That's good. I mean, the nurses make a big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they can only do what the doctors order, but if they're grumpy, then it certainly doesn't make you feel better.
Doesn't. Like, for instance, I had a nurse yesterday who was like, I was complaining about like pain and stuff, and she's like, "Well, what do you want me to do about it? Call the doctor?"
Call the doctor and tell him my patient's in pain.
Yeah.
Can you give me something that hopefully will help her?
Mm-hmm.
She knows what to do about it.
Yeah.
Wow. So is there anything else you want to tell us, Marissa?
Besides that, I want to go home to my babies and my dog, and I just want to be out of here.
Will they let your kids come visit you?
Yeah.
Have you seen them since you've been in there?
Yes, I have.
Is hubby home from the oil rig?
He is on his way home now, and he is going to get Izzy. I I actually just had to buy Izzy a new portable air conditioner and broke it.
Oh. Did they start school?
Yeah, they started school the day I had my pain pump inserted.
Oh, wow. Okay. They probably miss you too. It's probably
Yeah.
a two-way street. The beginning of school is a big deal. It's a big thing. I have a high schooler now. Ashley started high school, and the little guy, he's
He's in fifth grade?
in fifth now. He's getting there. A couple years, he'll be in junior high. I just can't even believe it.
I can't believe him and Alex are the same age.
Yeah. It's crazy how fast they grow up, man. It's just amazing to
Alex
me.
started playing tennis this summer.
Oh, is he good?
He got the first day he had 35 points and he never played before in his life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his sport. You guys don't have any questions? Kim, Jetty May, I know you're there. I can see you. No questions for Marissa? I mean, these are two people that aren't scared to ask questions, so I don't know what to say other than they just don't have any. Okay, Marissa, well, I'm going to let you get back to sleep.
All right, thank you.
And I do want to do an interview with you on that pain pump at some point, because I think that that's something that people will be interested in.
Oh, thank you, Jenny May.
But I don't want to scare them and make them think that they're going to get sepsis if they get put on one. So I want to.
I am the rare anomaly.
I know, but people will still get scared because they'll see this and they'll think, oh my God, she got a pain pump. I was going to get one and now she's septic in the hospital.
Just call me Murphy's Law.
Yeah, I know. I know. But let's look at the positive side. You've got a great attitude. At least today you do. You look awesome.
Yeah. Around 4 o'clock this morning, one of the patient care technicians, he was like, you're up. Do you want to get washed up and stuff? And he brought me a basin to get washed up with. And I just get washed up on my side of the room.
Yeah. Do you have a patient in there with you?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's not alert and oriented or anything.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She's been sleeping.
She's on the other side of the curtain.
Yep. I hear her every morning.
Okay. Wow. It's funny. I always forget that they put more than one person in rooms now. Okay, Marissa, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Anytime.
You are always fun to interview. And I always know your stuff's going to work. I always know your stuff's going to work when you come on.
Even on hospital Wi-Fi.
I know. I got nervous at the beginning. So.
Bye.
Okay. Keep me posted and let me know how you're doing so I can report.
Have a good night.
All right. You too. Thanks, Marissa. That was Marissa. She's a good friend of mine. I've known her for, a long time now, from TikTok. And I wanted to talk to her, not necessarily because she's in the hospital. I obviously gave her the choice because some people wouldn't want to come on when they were in the hospital. But Marissa's got a story that I think a lot of people need to hear. So anytime I have a chance to bring her on here, I'm going to do it. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. My name is Pharmacist Michael. Be happy, be healthy, and don't forget to watch the health and wellness videos. There's a lot of them on my channel. I will see you all very soon.